Hello, and welcome to the continued adventures of Captain Nutbush. Now, we've just finished the tutorial, and we're ready to move on to our missions now. However, there are a few nitty-gritty bits and bobs that we need to discuss first. Very important things that the game itself hasn't taken the effort to explain. Now, there are few people who don't seem to understand how this chat box works. So this is what we plan to do now. Right now, we're stuck in the combat log. Now, as an early gamer, you have no real use for it. So let's just click over to chat. Now, chat is what's going on in your local area. Or just to notify you of things that are important to you. For example, I've got several friends that have just logged on and logged off, as you saw from the green writing above. And it is also a place for sort of public talk and public chat. And people also use it to advertise fleets, which we'll discuss later. And people also use it to advertise websites, which, to be honest, is not allowed. That's why there's so much wonky writing when they try and do it. Anyway, first thing you'll notice is the many different colours. Now, you can only see two colours here at the moment, and that's orange and purple. Orange is sort of the standard for what we know as zone chat. Zone chat follows you around, so it tells you what people are talking about in a specific area that you happen to be at that moment. Now, we can ask questions here, we can spark up general chat, or more importantly for you, you can ask for help. Now, you need to make sure, before you type in, that you are in fact in zone chat. So you click in the bracketed words, and you'll have local and zone. Local only broadcasts within 10 kilometers of your ship, or around about that, while our zone broadcasts to an entire sector. So first thing we need to learn is private messaging, because people will message you in game, or people will just send you invites to fleet and whatnot, and you need to know how to respond. So, as an example earlier, I typed in, hidden here somewhere, "Hello, I am a noob." And within about half a minute, 30 seconds, somebody immediately messaged me, "How can I help you, noob?" So I am just going to private message him. So I'm just going to say hello. And he will type hello back, and you should hear a sound you should hear for. Well, listen for. Now let's hope he says hello back. Well, that was really useful, wasn't it? Oh well. We know how to private message now anyway. Hopefully he will respond later, but there is a sound you will very quickly learn to listen for, and it sounds like the hailing sound that is heard in Next Generation. I'm not going to attempt to try and imitate it, because I'll probably just make a fool of myself. Anyway, that's just basically the basics. There we go, that was the sound. Here we go. People don't always respond straight away because they have got missions and whatnot to do. I'm just going to finish this. I just told him that I'm doing a YouTube video, which I am, and him replying would help, and it has. So, thank you, Bugs. If that's a reference to Bugs Bunny, well, hey. Anyway, we figured that out. Now, if you want to get rid of some of the clutter that appears on here, like all of this stuff, which you will get, you just click on that little setting there, and chat settings, and there we go. Now, in this window, you can turn off all of the clutter that you don't need, or even make a new window or a new tab. But how I tend to operate is I turn emotes off, inventory, match, minigame, mission. You don't need officer just yet. Reward, reward miner, system. And there you go. Now down here are channels that you can subscribe to, as you can see, Reddit, NOP public service, which is very useful later on. But like I say, that's for later on. Okay. I think that just about covers the chat bar. Now the chat bar can be resized, as you've probably already figured out, or minimized altogether. And that sound you heard earlier will still be played. Now let's explore the options a little bit. Now we have the mini-map here. You already sort of know your way around it. In fact, instead of the options, the more useful thing you can learn is this one here, Hail Starfleet. In the overview panel, I use this primarily to look at any special events that might be up and coming. So this weekend, skill points and expertise are going to be doubled over the weekend, which is going to be very handy for us. Episodes are basically the names of the how you get your missions, the ones that follow a storyline. You get many other missions which are explore this system, explore that system and whatnot, but this is your main way of leveling up. Now, right now, we don't really have any episodal missions because we've still got one more mission to do, sort of with the tutorial, but it's sort of like an example mission. The tutorial's well and truly done now. Okay, that is what is available for you. So, tutorial about the skills trainer, how to change clothes. Foundry, you don't need to know about yet. However, once you hit, say, level 20, there is a very useful mission in there we will discuss later. In progress. Now, you need to know in progress and get used to using it, because when you get a mission, it is here that tells you where you need to go. And it's the green writing you look at. So, it tells you to go to the Pollux system, which is located in the Sirius sector block, and to meet with the USS Kittimer. So, let us... I mean, we already know where we're supposed to go. We'll only go forward, but let us say it is a mission in a different sector. How do we go about figuring out where on Earth we're supposed to go? You press M for your map, M on the keyboard, or this icon here. Now, you can see where we are here, and the sector that we're in is highlighted. So we are in the Sirius block. There you go, Sirius sector block. And Pollux IV. So we are now in the Sirius block, so we click on system list and go till we find the name. There you go, Pollux system. If we double click that, we will travel. See? I mean, you can fly around freely if you wish, but by far this is the easiest way. Now this lot you can already work out. The next thing we're going to talk about before we move forward is something called keybinds. Now everybody has their own preferences, and sometimes you need to experiment, but I am going to change my keybinds now, because It's just the way I prefer it. Makes the game easier for me. So we want to go over to our minimap area here and click on the cog. Game menu. Options. And then we are going to go over to keybinds. Now these are your controls. Now these are also very good if you have forgotten the controls. Say after the tutorial you've been away for a week and you can't remember how things work. This is the place to go and figure it out. So first thing I'm going to change is I have a mouse wheel. So I am going to change the throttle controls to the mouse wheel. So throttle forward is going to be mouse scroll up. Throttle back is going to be mouse scroll down. Now let's check this out. Almost. It would appear I've got it the wrong way around. Again, I did say these were going to be raw recordings, so you can see the mistakes I make. You can learn from them yourself. See, one thing I've just done there, it's hard to line these up, is I've made mouse scroll up into the throttle toggle, which means the minute I go forward a little, I go straight to full impulse, and I don't want that. And it's supposed to be E, so I'm going to put that. There we go, that's fixed. Now for every click of the mouse I go up 1. That's good. Now the next thing I'm going to change, and I suggest you change this too because it will make things a lot easier for you, is you look for fire all weapons. There we go. It's normally Alt and space, but I am going to change it to space. That way, all I need to do is run around bashing space all the time. It works for me. Simple, but it works. And we want to do our zoom settings. Zoom out fast. Okay. And what is the zoom in? Okay, I'm going to do zoom in as page up, zoom out as page down. Again, just mess around. Full impulse, I am going to just change it to shift. So you press shift, keep a hold of it and press just this. There we go. The idea being for that is when I want to go to full impulse, instead of having to remember 2 keys, I just tap the shift button. But, you know, mess around as you wish. Now, there are other keybinds that we will find useful, but because we don't have any immediate use for them just yet, I'm not going to go through them, because I want you to see the benefit of those keybinds. Another useful thing to talk about now is the equipment system, because in our tutorial we got some new gear. Now, you've been taught how to a rudimentary degree, how to equip gear that you've just gotten on your character, but how do you equip it on your ship, or equip it on other characters or other officers you have in your roster? What you would do is you would press U on the keypad, or you would press this here. And right now, this is me, as strange as I am. And I have a new rifle, Mark 1, which is green quality. If you hang your mouse over it, you can compare what you have and what you have equipped and what you have in your inventory, sorry. So, it looks like my old rifle is inferior to this one. So there's two ways of equipping it. There's quick equip, where you just click on there and there you go, or you can just drag and drop it. Now another interesting thing with drag and drop is if you want advice on something in particular. Now I'm going to put a noob question in here, see if anybody responds. So is this any good? Which, to be honest, you know, you're only one level, so anyway, it doesn't really matter so much. But you just drag and drop that in there. Press enter, and there you go. And if whoever looks at this hangs their mouse over it, they're able to see what it is. Now this is just a bit of an experiment. Someone might reply, someone might not. There we go, somebody applies almost immediately. The chat box, very helpful place. Oh, hello. I liked it at low levels. There you go, got a bit of advice. And every now and again you will get a troll that will, you know, pick on a group of people, but very rarely does that happen. Anyhow, now we have a rifle sitting in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the weaponry of one of our two officers. Now these travel with us on missions, they help us, they shoot our enemies, and if trained right, they'll also heal you. So it is a very good idea to look after them as best you can. Because if you look after them with good weapons, good equipment, they'll most certainly look after you. So let's upgrade her weapon. Now if you notice, she has a small hypo. Now you can either choose to continually keep equipping her with this healing item, or you can take them out and use them on yourself. However, you will find pretty quickly that these guys tend to outlast you on the battlefield, at least in the early stages. And they are very important for resuscitating you, which is something we're going to cover later. I'm just seeing if anybody else has replied. Okay, let's go back to me, Captain Nushbush. And there is another item in here I can use, a medium hypo. So this time I'm going to equip it the other way. Now another thing you find you can do is when you click you can see what is equipped on others. And I'll be cruel, I will, since I've given Elisa Flores a weapon, I'm going to take those from her. There you go. And as you see, they've disappeared. Oh, I didn't give her the weapon. Whoops. Oh well, I will just give her it back. Equipped on Captain. There you go. Let's see what else we have. We've got a couple of goodies for our ship. Anyway, I shall do this quickly because this is all the information I think you need. We will talk a little bit more about the different types of impulse engines later, but right now all that matters is this impulse engine is better than that one. Another thing we'll look at, I know I keep saying another thing, but oh well. Here we go. Go on the inventory by pressing I, and you'll see there are different tabs here. And we also have the replicator. So we shall explain what these are for. The replicator is kind of your well, as it say, use the replicator to recycle any items for energy credits, which is the main form of currency in this game. It's how you buy things, which is something we'll cover on later when we actually do need to buy something. A lot of these things will come evident later what you use them for, but right now it doesn't matter. Now if you for some reason have accidentally thrown away your only weapon, you can go here and get this for 1 energy credit, or a personal shield if you have indeed accidentally thrown it away. Food is useful for healing, see, plus 56 hit points. So if you are having trouble staying alive in battle, just replicate some food. Or a hypo. These things will become invaluable later on. A small hypo is a healing item. A shield charge recharges your shields. And I strongly suggest getting them when you get the chance, because it will make it will make the game easier. It'll save you from dying over and over again, which happened a lot when I was beginning. Recycle. Now, because these are standard issue, we won't get any energy credits for recycling them, and things at the moment, any drop is a bit too valuable for you to recycle. However, since we no longer have use for these things, we might as well recycle them. And the idea is that would normally turn it into energy credits, the main form of currency. Now, if you've accidentally recycled something, you can just retrieve it, providing you have the same amount of energy credits in your bank as what it gave you for recycling it. Right, let's go over to assets. You will see that there are many different things you can collect in this game. You have the gold press latinum, which any Star Trek fan will know what that is. Same with dilithium, which becomes a very valuable resource later on, because it can be converted into something called Zen. And Zen people usually pay real world money for. However, if you're on free to play, the dilithium exchange is going to be invaluable to you. But we have no dilithium to exchange, so we're going to leave that alone for now. Fleet assets. That is something that we will cover when we eventually join a fleet. Which, trust me, you're going to get a lot of fleet invites. Although I'm staggeringly surprised that somebody hasn't spammed me an invite already. But I digress. Reputation marks. That's something you will concern yourself with after you hit level 50. Very soon, to be level 60 is going to be the cap. But once you've reached the level cap, there will be other ways of improving your character, and one of them is through the reputation system, and that's what this is all about. And all of these different forms of currency, to begin with, are confusing, but you do very quickly get used to them and learn what they're all for. Few other small things to explain. I know that the screen keeps moving around, it's because I keep pausing. Server not responding. This is something you're going to have to cope with as well. And it's entirely possible that I could get logged off. Usually after about 40 seconds. There we go. I'm going to log on. Okay, I've skipped over the part where I put in my login information for obvious reasons. And the good thing is after a server timeout, it always puts you right back where you started. So you don't need to worry about that. But that couldn't have happened with better timing, to be honest. But yes, that is something you will have to contend with. Now, what I was originally going to talk about was these people floating around here. It's happening again. Oh boy. The only thing is, once it happens once, it tends to happen again and again, and it gets really quite annoying. There we go. Okay, logging in again. There is something you can do to avoid this. If it's happened twice in one place, there is something you can do to stop it, to avoid it happening again. It means where you are, well, this is the way I perceive it, I could be completely wrong, but I find that certain instances are buggy. Now, if you press M, then go to area map. You have the option down here to change instance. So I've been sitting in an instance which keeps lagging out on me, so I'm going to change. I mean, I don't know whether there's any proper basis for that, but it works for me. There's only one slight problem though, is you're going to end up all the way back at Earth Space Dock. And where we want to be is halfway down here. So, you can either double click it on the map, or we can do what we did before. Find the Pollux system, double click, and you'll travel. But this gives us an opportunity to discuss a few more things. These blue people here, these blue titles you see floating around, these are real people. These are people you can talk to, interact with. Now, when you click on them, you get certain information. So let's try someone we're going to pass by. Here we go. Sir Lix-a-Lot. You can see there's a red 49. That's the grade differential, just as it says. That means he's 49 levels above you. In other words, level 50. It's handy information. I don't know how useful it is though. It's useful in the teaming system, but we're not going to deal with that just yet. Anyway, if you press info, it tells you what species they are. It tells you what fleet they're in, how powerful their ship is, well, how much hull they've got, blah blah blah. It's also good if you want to follow people around. Right, also in sector space, if you don't like all of these graphics around you, you just disable astrometrics, and there we go. It's like going around in space for real. Now, we're not going to bother with these things yet, because they are one level above you, and in this early stage, that one level is a big thing, because right now you only have one ability, and that heals your shields. If you go there, you'll probably get pounded, unless somebody goes to help you. Right. Now let's see if there's anything in chat. No, there isn't. People have been quiet. Something I wanted to show you is, say for example you've been in chat for a little while, and you know, you've decided you like them, or if they want to help you with something, it's a good idea to friend them. So this works with their name as well. If you right click their name, you can add them as a friend. You can also invite them to team if they want to help you with a mission, which is something we will deal with very shortly, but unfortunately the mission that we're about to go on can't be shared. I believe that's... here we go. And one more thing is the skill points. Now right now I am an engineer, and engineers really need to tank. They need to be able to withstand a lot of damage. So in the early days I tend to put my skill points on hull repair and shield emitters. And those two things are a good thing to look at for any person beginning, because you know, you're going to get hit a lot to begin with, and you don't have much in the way of healing abilities. And then later on you can think about attack patterns and weapons training and whatnot. Okay, I am going to attempt to get a volunteer to help me explain the team system. So I'm going to pause, and I'll be back shortly. Looks like I've got a willing volunteer. So all you need to do, if somebody's offered to help you, right click, invite the team. There we go. Now they're in team, and what you should do is ask them to match your level. Otherwise, when you enter into a map, it will be at their level and you'll get blown up left, right and centre.
Can you hear me?
So right now he's trying to talk, So let's talk back. You press the N key, and you'll notice when you're talking, that should light up that colour. So let's press N now. Hello, Ronnie.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I just had you turned down for the moment. I was just explaining the teaming system. I think we're more or less done. I'm just going to explain how to leave a team now, unless you want to add something.
Not really. Did you explain to them about the if you lag out on SEO due to internet interruptions? That when you log back on, if it's within like 30 seconds, you should be thrown back into the scene.
Yeah, good idea. We have just covered that actually, and good example now is that your voice is lagging out. So yes guys, this does happen on occasion, and if that does happen, sometimes changing instances, leaving the team, coming back on the team does help. But unfortunately the in-game chat isn't all that good. Sometimes when you join a fleet, it's a good idea to do third party. Anyway, Ronnie's got stuff to do, so I shall leave him alone now. Anything else to say, Ronnie?
No, right now. It seems that they're outside playing right now. They just left the house. It's good for me so I can do a few runs on some STFs.
Just to let you know, this is going on YouTube. You're being recorded. You might not want to put personal information out there, right?
I'm not putting anything personal on there besides babysitting, you know.
Fair enough. Well, at least the good thing is we can hardly hear you because of the lag. Unfortunately, this is something you will have to get used to on the game.
Especially if you're using a computer washed up in the 1990s.
Well, yeah, he is playing on a computer from the 1990s, that is true. Anyway,
yeah, my sister my computer, so I'm using my roommate's computer. It's not the best. Very frustrating. Well, I'll let Captain Who get back to doing his YouTube video, so I'll let you guys go.
Rightio. Right, to leave a team, there's two ways of doing it. You can either right-click the player and kick from team, which is actually quite rude, or you can leave by pressing the icon that was up there. Oh well. I think that's everything you need to know for now. Just that one tip I said before, make sure he is matching your level, because if you're matching his, or if he's staying at his own level when he enters into a map, that will make things much harder for you. You'll get one shot at every time. Okay, that's me signing out for now for today's tips. We will be doing the mission in the next video, and I will attempt to make it a bit more entertaining than this, because this was, well, meant to be informative, and I probably have mumbled a bit, and I'm probably waffling on now, so I am going to cut myself off before I talk myself into oblivion. See ya. Ah yes, there's one more thing. I know I said I was going to leave, but one more thing. Different computers tend to have this thing here, all different sizes, and it can annoy the hell out of some people. Easiest way to fix it is to go into your options, basic, and then interface scale. There you can make things bigger, or smaller. So you just muck about till you find something you like. And in basic you've got all kinds of things you might want to muck about with. One of the things is difficulty. Now, for now you just want to be on normal, but in advanced and elite you get better drops. It's harder, but the equipment you get from it is far superior. However, you have a damage system that you'll have to deal with, and for the interests of the next video, to teach you what that damage system is, I am going to go on elite. which might not be a good... In fact, no, I'm going to go on advanced, okay, because the damage system still works, and I'm too much of a coward to go on elite this early in the game. And if I can... There we go. You have the colour palette. Now, let's say, for example, you don't like blue. You can go for Klingon, which is red. Romulan, which is green. And, you know, you can mess about as you wish, but I personally like Federation Classic. But, since you guys are most likely going to be on Federation, that is what I'm going to use. One more thing. Rearrange HUD. This is pretty much self-explanatory. What I tend to do, because this interaction window really does get in the way, I tend to tuck it away somewhere where it won't get on my nerves, say here, because the chat box can open and close. Okay. Anyway, I tend to stretch this as well, because the mission tracker is very valuable, and you shall see later. You can also make the minimap bigger or smaller if you want. And you can... I mean, you can't see it here, but when you're on the ground, your health monitor is here. You can make that bigger or smaller. And, you know, just there's quite a lot of customization to be had. And you can see here something I neglected to mention, but I probably was going to mention it later. Up here you have a level and rank indicator. Now on the very top, which is white, the closer you are to getting to your next level, the further along the white goes. And right now I am level 1, so I have one bronze here. These go up for every rank, because right now I am Lieutenant, and 10 ranks time I will be Lieutenant Commander. So that's what the gold bar is meant to represent, how far you are away from the next rank. Okay, I think that's everything. So for the second time, I am signing off, and I will see you on the next mission.